Welcome to the Media Daily. I'm WC Ekekwe. A conversation today will focus on fintechs and the Nigerian banking sector. Over the last few years, we have seen this redesign in the banking sector in the nation. Of course, the banking sector is certainly the most dynamic sector and the most competitive sector in the Nigerian economy. We continue to see how these banks are repositioning themselves, building capabilities across different phases of different elements of their businesses. I had an opportunity of we've been invited to speak to a bank board, one of the top three banks in the country. That was in 2015. At that time, uh, the banking sector was actually in a state of flux, in the sense that we were moving into that moment where the recession was increasingly visible but has not really kicked in. The transition to a new government of Muhammadu Buhari has just happened few months ago. Remember that in that speech, I showed a curve. It was a smiling curve in the sense that if you look at this curve, it looks like a smiling lady. Here you have the value at the vertical side, and then you have different elements of what is happening on the horizontal. This curve was originally a postulation by the founder of Lenovo, a company that makes a computer system. He said that manufacturers like Lenovo typically spend all their energies here at the center of the curve. And that is where you have the least value if you look at this curve. Whereas other companies like Accenture, Intel, which is actually here because it does a lot of intellectual property accumulation. It built a lot of capabilities in microprocessor design. Then it could turn sand into microchips, earning a lot of money doing that. And then at the other side are companies like Accenture, which now are using services to profit from these computing systems like Lenovo and Co. have built. You have companies like Dell, companies like HP, focusing largely on the computing side of these businesses. So the man say that for these companies to actually have better margins, they have to do things just beyond here. So I made a case that our banks were just delivery pipes that were dumb. They were not intelligent. Why the companies that were focusing on the origination and creation, and like InterSwitch, it was at the peak at that moment. The Visa, MasterCard were helping to drive the origination and creation of integration into the financial and electronic digital ecosystems are the people that are making most of the bucks. So the banks will just pass that transaction, and at the other end of it, Flutterwave, Paystack, Remita, and other ones are working on the discovery and aggregation, and they also earn a lot of fees. So the banks get practically, marginally nothing. Then, if you look at it, that was what was happening. And I started just breaking it down that was a wave of fintech that was taking over what was happening. So here you have these companies like InterSwitch, Intransact, Paystack, Flutterwave, Remita. Then there are also another category for Vogu Pay, Simple Pay, Piggyback Pay. There are so many of them. In short, at this phase, you could have up to 54 companies all competing to play a significant role at this level. Of course, the big three are called a Paystack, Flutterwave, and Remita. These are well-funded companies which continue to play a significant role. Then these are category for infrastructure catalytic platforms which remain very, very strong in the whole spectrum of innovation within the financial sector. So they are working in the area of saving lending and also financial advisory, helping people save money smartly. They also do payments and remittance, as well as, hopefully in future, if DIPS, Nigeria Interbank Settlement Scheme, provides the BVN data, you can see credit rating as well as agency banking data. Because the companies like Diamond Bank are positioning themselves strongly to drive this agency banking. But something here is also happening that Instead of these banks not staying here, something new began to happen. Recently, you have this company, Sterling Bank, which has a product called Spectre, which is essentially going after pay later piggy bank products. Here, Spectre is funded with nearly 10 billion naira, making it possible that it has the war chest, it has the capacity to actually knock down any potential fintech. Of course, the cost model for banks can never be compared to the startups because the startups are asset light and they don't have a lot of legacy infrastructure they have to worry about. So it's always an advantage for a startup if it can engineer itself innovatively, it can always price its products more competitively. We have Alert, which is a digital bank from Weber Bank, which continue to show the world, the nation, that it has capacity to innovate and shape the dynamic trajectory of the financial sector in the country. So from SunTrust to EcoBank, GTBank, UBA, Fidelity, you have these banks not just working anymore, focusing here. They are now participating here, and even one of them is also moving in here. So I give an example. That's what I call the phase two. The banks are now also at the edges. So you can see Spectre here for Sterling Bank, SMS banking for GT Bank, Alert for Weber. Because of course, GT Bank has essentially cut off InterSwitch, which he used to work with. GT Pay now, and is driving some of these things by itself. So banks are moving into origination and creation, and also solidifying their positioning at the discovery and aggregation. And as they are doing that, this fintech is now smart delivery. It's no more a dump delivery as it was before. And now good things are happening. They're having massive record creation of value. Profits are growing, access are growing. Now, fake techs are now pipelines upon which the banks are also making money. Just like, for example, for any money made by Remita, the banks get a tax on it. In other words, the banks also make money. So largely for them, it does not really matter. You, the fintech, go and bring in more customers into the system. We will always take our own part. And that is what they really want. They are happy with it. So the banks are evolving. And that is a challenge for the fintechs because if these banks continue to do well here, because no one competes with them here, they own the license from the Central Bank of Nigeria. So you can't really do anything here. This is the only place where you can play a role. If they become increasingly very, very, very innovative and have that capability, they may say, hey, I don't need you guys anymore. We can control the center. We can also control the discovery and aggregation. And that is the challenge for the fintech. It's no more that the fintechs are going to disrupt the banks. I believe the banks are some of the best fintechs in the nation. The question is that the banks can actually make things very difficult for fintechs. Of course, more needs to be done, so we are very hopeful for the fintechs. Lots of value still outside the formal sector. So you still have to drive agency bank. You still have to get a lot of people into the banking system. There are so many Nigerians who don't have bank accounts. But the problem is that even the fintechs themselves, they don't necessarily have the appetite to go for those customers because those customers are very expensive to serve and you don't really make any money from them. So every person is now congregated around very few people that really have this money and where every person wants to make money from. And in that position, and in that phase, and in that spectrum, the banks are winning. You are listening to Techidia Daily, WBC.